On another episode of My Favorite Character Gets Neglected by the Creators, so I'm gonna solve all their plot holes myself, I present Genshin Impact's Thoma, or I guess more specifically, his father. Thoma is the housekeeper of the Kamisato clan. He's regarded as being a kind, loyal, and highly sociable person, and in great respect from Ayato and the residents of Inazuma. While he has lived in Inazuma for over a decade, Thoma is originally from Mondstadt. We are told that one day, many years ago, Thoma's father, who was currently living in Mondstadt, wanted to return to his homeland of Inazuma. As such, he set sail for the country, leaving behind his child and wife. A little while later, Thoma thought his dad would miss the taste of Mondstadt's specialty dandelion wine and decided to head to Inazuma himself to deliver it. Unfortunately, during his trip, he was caught in a storm. His boat capsized and he fell into the sea. Amazingly, the tides managed to wash him ashore in Inazuma, where he was rescued by the Kamisato clan. From that fateful day, Thoma continued to live in Inazuma for over a decade. He built a wide network of connections with people from both his work with the Yashiro Commission and his own charming personality. However, he was never able to find any information about his father, let alone actually meet him. If he wasn't even able to find a scrap of information about him, even a story of a body washing up on shore one day in over 10 years, what exactly happened to his father? Well, the most likely and incredibly boring explanation is that, like Thoma, he was caught in a storm or something happened while he was sailing, though unlike Thoma, he wasn't lucky enough to survive such an ordeal, and drowned before ever making it to Inazuma. But I just don't believe that. The circumstances around him leaving Mondstadt are just too odd for me to overlook. Instead, what if Thoma's father was never found in Inazuma because he never intended to go there in the first place? To start with, Thoma's father deciding to go back to Inazuma is suspicious as hell. He had a wife and child, and based on Thoma's positive recollection of his life in Mondstadt, his father seemed to have built quite the comfortable life there. Thoma never mentions him going back to Inazuma as a recurring thing. Instead, it seems like this was an out-of-the-blue decision to go back to his homeland. Why abandon your family? Thoma's age is never confirmed, but my best guess would be about 28, which, doing the math, Thoma's dad would have had to have left when he was around 18. 18 is a fairly reasonable age to abandon your child, I guess? But that's my guess. According to others on the internet, he's a lot younger, with estimations coming out at around 24 on average. Meaning his dad would have to have left him at 14. That's a horrible age to decide to leave your kid behind and go missing. Like I said before, Thoma only had positive things to say about his life in Mondstadt and his father. It doesn't seem like there would be any reasons for his father to leave, like a divorce with his wife or money/work problems. I also find the lack of information on Thoma's father in Inazuma odd. Not just the fact that Thoma was never able to find him, but he could never find anything at all related to him. Genshin constantly tells us how well connected Thoma is, knowing someone basically everywhere in Inazuma. I'm sure that between him asking everyone he meets and those people talking to others, most people have heard about this guy looking for his father. And yet he doesn't find any trace of him. I could think of a few reasons. He's of Inazuman descent but lied about actually living there. Everyone who would remember him from his childhood is dead, or he's just straight up not Inazuman. Thoma's father put such an emphasis on loyalty when raising him, to the point where it ultimately earned him a vision. Running away from your family doesn't sound very loyal to me. So here's my completely unhinged theory. Thoma's father never went back to Inazuma. He's currently alive, and most shockingly of all, we already know him. I believe Thoma's father is one of the Fatui Harbingers, the captain. We know very little about the captain. He is yet to appear in the game, with the only time we actually get to see him in Genshin's promotional videos. The most obviously suspicious aspect of his character is the fact that his face is never shown. To me, this suggests his identity will be important to the story. Like I said before, Thoma never found any information about his father. With the captain's identity being kept a secret, it would make sense for anyone who would know him to be silenced. The possibility of him not being from Inazuma and just lying for a cover story also makes sense. The captain is someone who strongly believes in loyalty and honor, just like how Thoma's father is described. Wanderer comments that the captain is absolutely righteous, to the point of it being a fault. I believe he spent a lot of time in Mondstadt because of the letter the Knights of Favonius received from Varka. While on an expedition, Varka ran into the captain. With Mondstadt recently being attacked by other members of the Fatui, you'd think there would have been quite the fight. But in reality, nothing happened. In fact, the captain actually ended up aiding Varka. Mika's fourth character story provides us with more information on what exactly happened that night. Apparently the two groups ran into each other before calling over both their respective commanders. Varka walked up to the captain and had a brief conversation with him, which conveniently no one heard, before both returned to their men and left without conflict. Varka explains that they both understood it would be a poor decision for them to fight, but that doesn't seem true. As the Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius, Varka's job is to protect Mondstadt. At this moment, tension with the Fatui is at an all-time high. He runs into a Fatui Harbinger, and rather than start a fight or immediately retreat, he chooses to have a conversation with him? There is no way he could have gauged if that would have gone well when they've never even met. Unless they have met. Everything about this interaction suggests to me that Varka knows the captain. Varka seems to be well liked in Mondstadt, being friendly with many of his citizens. To me, he also seems like the kind of person who knows a whole lot more than he lets on. So what if Varka knew Thoma's father while he was living in Mondstadt? When he disappeared, through his work as the Grandmaster, I don't think it would have been difficult for Varka to connect the dots. It's also possible that Varka knew about his connection to the Fatui from the start, keeping an eye on him while he lived in Mondstadt. At the end of the letter, we get another piece of information regarding the captain. Apparently, he and his men travelled to Natlan to participate in the war over there. With Natlan being the nation of the Pyro Archon, Thoma's Pyrovision could be a hint that we need to look there to uncover more of his story. It also brings up an interesting parallel between Thoma and the captain. Thoma is no stranger to war with an Archon, which the captain will undoubtedly face while in Natlan. So in summary, Thoma's father is a member of the Fatui. While in Mondstadt, he met Thoma's mother, fell in love, and decided to stay there to be with her. Eventually, a time came where he was needed back with the Fatui. He had to decide between his family and his loyalty to the organization. Just as he had drilled into Thoma, he chose to be loyal. He picked the Fatui, leaving his family behind, but created the cover story of going back to Inazuma so his family wouldn't worry about him. Over a decade passes, and now he has been sent to work in Natlan. With the release of Natlan, his identity will finally be uncovered, and the traveler will be able to tell Thoma the truth about his father. I can't wait for this to all be proven wrong when Hoyo finally lets Thoma go back to Mondstadt. Thank you for your time.